we should take our models and think differently. Maybe we lose our previous way of thinking, way of acting, morals. We have to create something new, otherwise we are sinking. And our times is one of many in history when history is changing. And models are changing. And I'm changing, and I changed my speak about 10 times since yesterday because things that happened here. Some supported me. Some others made me think differently. And the change, and I even left technology, and I brought back the old stuff, papers. And I'm going to speak about getting back to the old and basic stuff as an anchor. When you live in times of uncertainty, and times of uncertainty is handmade. It's not brought us by an asteroid or by somebody from another planet. It's our creation. We made it. That's why I believe that we should create a model to fix it. So people will enter the generation of feeling stability, feeling safe, feeling confident again, which in our times we feel that we lose it. Yesterday I wrote in one of the golden nuggets, oh my God, we're all the same. I'm from Israel. Very dramatic place on this planet. But I hear people from what I called a candy land, the perfect land. And they feel the same. So stopping a circle, one of my friends said, and the option of doing nothing is not an option. We are running out of time. We ignored and denied too long the changes that we had to do, things that we had to think again how we manage our lives so we won't be lost. And it happens every time in history. When things are changing, after the big revolution, 18th century, after Napoleon times, 19th century, when the nations of Europe struggled for independence and identity, the middle of 19th century, the spring of the nations, after World War I, after World War II. This was a time of totally uncertainty. People were lost. Maybe not from the same reason that we are now, but it was the same. And one of the ladies in the groups, the previous section, said, it happened again in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I agree with this. Not so many times. But when history is changing, things should be done to put people in their safe place again. What is special for our times in this issue? First, the model that we built after World War II of the ideal models, free countries, free nations, no empires, everybody is free. We share together global as a sovereign states. And then technology and knowledge and science. This is the end of history. Now we know where we're sitting. Terrible experience from the past will not return now. And it doesn't work. And we feel maybe not everybody can speak or identify correctly what it is, but we feel it. It does not work. This is number one. Number two, the crazy technology that change our life every day in the media and technology, and what we buy now is old for even when we bought it from the shop, and we don't know where we're going to work tomorrow. What will be the profession of our children? We know nothing. It gives us tons of options and abilities, but it takes the carpets under our feet because people need stability. Third one, which is my subject today, in this global world of globalization, hyperliberalism, and multicultural world, we lose our identity. This is my main subject. Getting back to our identity as an anchor, because a man and a child, nobody cannot live without belonging to some people and culture and values that he shares. And our modern time shaped, some will say destroy the identity. And when you don't have identity, you lose it. Even if you have everything, but you don't have the identity. And the fourth and the last one that I have some time just to mention, and it's for the last years, we have a feeling of losing the personal security. We don't feel safe to go out of home. Not in my country, we live with it since the beginning. Here in these beautiful, ideal countries that you, the Europeans, and the Americans, and the Canadians share. And when people live their personal security, believe me, they feel shaken. They live every day in a feeling that uncertainty is for sure, and we have to do something, but not always we know what to do. So what an irony. In an era that we have so many possibilities and problems, and it seems like we live much better than any other time in history, we feel lost. We feel lost, losing confidence, losing identities. And coming to the conference here, what can we do? We don't know what to do. There's so much wisdom in these rooms, and you don't know what to do, so we should know. But this is what we feel. And it brings us to a few challenges. 15 minutes. The first one is to speak and to express and to make a dialogue about our situation and our failures and our models that don't work. To put everything on the table. No politically correct. Know what we can speak or we can't. It doesn't matter how you will be tagged if you say something. Put your feelings and fears on the table because we have problems. And the liberal world and the democratic world and the humanistic world and our world said something the last years. I mean, you talk about belonging, you talk about identity. Maybe it hurts somebody. Don't talk about it. You shouldn't. To ignore and to deny is the worst option. With health and with societies, with everything. And the first anchor for me is to end denial and ignoring, and to have the courage to talk about everything in your society and among other societies and cultures. Put it on the table. And when new leaders come to this world, young or old, and say, this is the problem, read the newspaper. Oh, what they're doing. Maybe they have their own style. Hard to accept. But sometimes the Times send them to put things on the table. In their way. The other anchor I suggest is to bring back identity to our life as a legitimate and normal and acceptable pattern of our life as a base. We build our nations, our sovereign countries, on the base of identity, solidarity, the same values. Others build their states or whatever on their own solidarity and identities and morals that are not the same, maybe like yours or mine or ours. And bringing back identity and solidarity to our life. This is the second anchor. I suggest here to speak about, because this is the base. And when globalization and hyper-democracies and hyper-liberalism that we believed in, we established our states and culture and revolution on this base. But when it comes on the expense of destroying solidarity, it's a bad deal. And we should do this together. Your identity, your morals, and respect others. And this is a big challenge, because we're talking about multicultural world, but we expect all the world be advanced, technological, liberal like ours. It doesn't work. Not because I'm saying, because history says. Our dream about the good and global world doesn't work because people are different. People believe in different ideas and morals. And every time in history when somebody comes and speaking his truth to make a better world and try to make all the globe what kind of people, he fails. It can be the Marxism, socialism, some other kind of thinking that let's produce all the same because this is the right way. It doesn't work. History says. And then people fight each other because you force them at identity that they have not. They have their own. Some example, I don't have time. I had so many clues the last week talk about going back to the base, going back to the simple, going back to the identity. From papers, from show in TV, I got an invitation for eye contact experience. Come to learn how to make eye contact. Oh my God. I know how to look at people, but we forgot. And I have so many examples for the clues that I got. And the last one was yesterday evening with a gentleman from Greenland. What this gentleman said. He said, when I don't know what to do and I have to do something, I go back to my identity, to my beliefs, to my ancestors, to my base. And we respected it very much. It spoke to us. Can we do it to ourselves? And not to respect other cultures that come from far away and we can respect them? Can we do it to ourselves? To come back to our bases and to say it's okay, but on condition. And I want to take now about the condition, about the difficulties. What are the difficulties? And I'm going to finish. First, one difficulty is that we have to admit that what we try to build as the ideal model of the world is failing. It doesn't work as they want. World does not behave as expected. It's not easy to admit in such a statement. It means that we were wrong, and we had so many hopes for the new globe after World War II. It's gonna end. That's it. And we have to admit, this is the first difficulty. And the second difficulty about our identity and others' identity. You know, I must give you an example, 30 seconds, about identity as a strongest need, or one of the strong need for people. I spent many times in the military, from the tank corps. Maybe there's one in these groups that understand what I'm talking about, because normal people don't do such things, because it's not normal. You know what holds four young people that don't know each other in a metal box, in a total and pure situation of uncertainty, what's going to happen the next minute, and they risk their life. When you start the engine and you start move, you don't know what happened the next second. And at night it's worse. What keeps them together? Not speaks of the leaders from the capital. Brotherhood, solidarity, comrade friends. And then come the education, your commitment to your family, to your country, and so on. That keeps them together. Otherwise, they just run away from the tank after the first bullet is on. Or they just go crazy after the service. This is what keeps them. This is their anchor. the solidarity and the identity and the sharing together something. And if there is someone in the crew that are not in it, he cannot survive in the crew. You must replace him. Now I come back to the other and the last difficulty. To keep our identity and to defend our identity from threats, from within or from without. It's okay. But when you demand or you want or you wish to respect your identity, you should respect others. And other cultures and other identities include things that are so different than your morals, so you can't watch it. And for 100 years we said, we shall educate all the world in our values. It doesn't work. Maybe we have to think about respecting the other cultures. You are from the liberal world, maybe a tribe culture, a religion culture. Sometimes we call it extreme. But this is the culture, and they have the right to believe in what they believe. Like we ask them, and maybe we have to defend ourselves, when we are threatened by somebody, say, no, we keep our culture, we keep our identities, our right, we're not bad people. But maybe it makes you, on the other side, that you should respect other identities. And this is not easy for the modern, liberal, human world to say, I respect and I expect. I have to live with them. This is the world. Some cultures that I think the way they show and behave and the morals, I can't accept it. Oh my God. But we have no choice. This is the world. We cannot live on utopia. We have to find options from the real world. And when we shall be able to give back our identity and values and protect them, it can give us some anchor to start to think about which models we built in the world. It's not a bad thing. Because if we don't do it, and if we ignore, we let some powers from the extreme side to do it for us. And this is not a good option if you learn history. So, talking about the reality as it is, everything is legitimate. Every feeling is okay. And going back to the base, to the identity, eye contact, respecting and wishing a retro furniture, whatever. But on the same time, accepting other identities and cultures that it's difficult for you to accept. And making some pledge, some agreement that the future world cannot be global all the time because people are different. And the challenge is how different societies that have different values and different cultures cooperate together in one globe without threatening and destroying each other. This is the point. And I think getting back to our identity and morals can give us some strength for being more brave and feeling stable to deal with the challenges and with the world that we shall give our children. Thank you very much.